If I didn't know better, I'd say Hollywood's going all in right now on Western-themed series. I mean, those are pretty good right now in regard to ratings. I mean, look at Yellowstone, for example, a show that I can't stop raving about now that I've gotten through all 4 seasons. It was a pleasure to binge it, by the way. If you've never seen it, you know, there's a lot of high regard to this show for a reason, but it seems to have spawned off its newfound love for Western projects, which, you know, I've seen more, I would say, Western-themed or Western-intended in depiction, but not necessarily a Western direct production. It's a genre that, in comparison to others, I maybe spend a little less time with. Of course, it's a very revered space in Hollywood films, and especially Hollywood classics, but I would be game to watch more. I think particularly because I just love Yellowstone. I'm in the world of Westerns right now. I just feel a penchant for that. But even, you know, aside from this, I mean, the first one I just looked at, in fact, tonight, Dead for a Dollar, that's also coming out this September month. In fact, very soon, I believe, in a month's period. That's also Western themed, but that's like film fare. And it's probably been around maybe a little bit longer in regard to people's perception, given it's been on the award circuit and stuff. Well, look at a very good film, by the way. Christoph Waltz and Willem Dafoe are in it. But the English is coming out by way of Amazon. So you got Amazon looking over at Paramount going, hey, we're going to do a Western-themed series too. And we're also going to cast some big names. You know, what Yellowstone's got a whole bunch. But the English has a long list of cast members I love. From Emily Blunt, who's headlined this, big fan of her. Rafe Spall, Toby Jones is in this. And of course, there's many other names beyond that in terms of the cast list. Emily Blunt for me is an immediate draw. So let's see how good this is. I mean, again, it's a Western series, so it's very similar to Yellowstone, but this is for Amazon. I'm sure Amazon hopes for a win. I mean, they've had some good projects. I'm probably thinking they're looking at a lot of these projects going, okay, can we make up the difference in the money we're probably going to lose on the Lord of the Rings show? Yes, I have to drag that. Anyway, episode's debut tonight. I haven't seen it yet, but oh man, that show's got some ghosts for Amazon. So I'm sure they're hoping for some better pictures that go down people's throats. Anyway, for those of you who are not aware yet about what the English is, this is what it says according to IMDb. Follows a woman as she seeks revenge on the man she sees as responsible for the death of her son. So a family drama, essentially, you know, somebody who's looking for vengeance for what happened. You know, again, that certainly fits, I would say, the Western thriller type space that, you know, we're very familiar with if you've seen any type of Western picture, even if it's maybe just, again, Western in tone or intended vision, or sort of meant to mimic that style without necessarily being a direct Western picture. Sounds like a pretty usual pitch, a good one though. I think it's pretty familiar, but it sounds pretty strong, and I would say in accordance with the performances, the woman being Emily Blunt, I'm sure the film will more than satisfy on a performance aspect. Let's go ahead and take a look. I mean, yeah, Emily Blunt has done a really good job in regard to film fare. I'd say also within the thriller space, think of the Quiet Place movies. She's done really well there. But that performance might be a little more usual for her and what she's familiar with acting-wise, so I'm sure it'll translate over to this, even if, again, it's themed very differently, this time being a Western, right, rather than, you know, a direct thriller horror movie. I wonder if it's going to be aged, too, because, I mean, the English, and I did see, like, a couple of the photos as I was pulling it up, and it seems to have, like, an older look. Sort of like, you know, thinking back on Yellowstone as well, and all the spin-offs that have spun off of that show. I'm actually working my way through 1883 right now. Some of the photos here, at least from what I saw on the IMDb page, in terms of her costume, had a very similar look. Anywho, the English. Let's try it out. I mean, if Hollywood's going like, you know, Yellowstone's doing well, so we're going to go, you know, all the rage these days with Western-themed streaming series. Let's see what Amazon has to offer.
There's just something about this country. I sometimes wonder if there's horror in us all.
And here we are.
It's definitely more of a thriller. I mean, intense. Seems very sophisticated. And good editing on the sound, by the way, to match the pacing of the trailer.
If wishes were where we would be, then we would be where we are not.
Those strings are really helping embolden the energy. Is that it? Oh, I want to see more. It was a short teaser. I thought it was longer. Didn't even look at the runtime. I mean, again, that's obviously still early days, and the series premieres, do they have released it yet? I didn't catch it. November. So there's like a little time in regard to run ads for it. I mean, I'm sure in maybe October, later September, probably the earliest, we'll see another trailer, one that's a little bit longer in duration to get a better window on the show. That looks good. Totally. Yellowstone, for those of you who haven't seen it, again, it's a very good show. It is rated TVMA, so keep that in mind. I'm like, as much as I say it's a great show, there are some points of its content where I'm like, it definitely banks on the more adult audience. But it's a good show. I mean, in regard to a sophisticated plot, the vision of that series alone is just incredible in the writing. I mean, Taylor Sheridan's just wildly talented. But the atmosphere of an intense Western, I've really come to love with Yellowstone. It's such a sophisticated and deep show from all the different layers of its story. I sense the same type of energy here. It feels like a nice compliment to me with a very different type story. It does feel a bit aged, at least in the look, although I would say in comparison to 1883, that show looks more like it's in that time period, or at least it's trying to depict itself that way, versus this. This feels sort of like it's still kind of within the modern light, but it's trying to make an effort to have an older feeling. I mean, the costumes certainly work for me, and even the music is a nice throwback. I love strings, so that immediately brings me in regard to the audio. I'm like, okay, you've captivated me with your atmosphere here. Let's see what we have to produce as a series. And in 40 seconds, I mean, it paints itself as an intense thriller. I'm sure it's sympathy that you'd want to see reflected and given what's available right now in the Western sphere of entertainment. It looks good. I mean, Emily Blunt's performance, I'm sure, will be captivating as always. I mean, it was a little, I'd say, toned down here, and I think this trailer, or teaser trailer, was not necessarily giving you a window on the story or the characters individually, as much as it was the atmosphere of the show. I think this teaser trailer's done enough to set you in a world that seems very intense, which is what would fit, again, with the aspect of a show of a woman seeking and avenging for what's happened to her family. I wonder who the man is. I'm looking at the poster, and it looks like this Indian guy. I'm wondering if he is sort of like a partner for her, so that she can traverse locations that might not be the most familiar to her. I mean, given that I don't know, is she? Because Emily Blunt is an English actress, and it's named The English. I'm wondering if that's the idea of the show, that she's from, or her character is from Europe, and she's not the most familiarized with the geography of America just yet, and perhaps where or what happened to her daughter. And so this man serves as a guide for her, as a traveling companion. The villain, I mean, it looks good again from a depiction. I'm not sure I get a clear sense on who the villain is here, but it's an enticing tease, and one that I will definitely say, for me, does spark my interest, and that I am starting to really have a love now for Westerns. Thanks, Yellowstone. What are your guys' thoughts with the English? I'm sure the English would want the same respect. Being like, well, Yellowstone started off as Kick, and, it spawned off how many of her projects that are Western in tone as well, and, Hollywood's like, well, there's money to be made, so of course we'll go all in. But it seems like they produced a pretty competent series, at least from what I've seen. And for those of you, who've watched this trailer along with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below as to what you feel. And, Emily Blunt, is she a draw for you? She is for me. So I'll definitely give us a watch, when it comes out. I mean, I still have to make my way around a bunch of other Amazon shows I haven't taken a look at yet. But this looks good. It looks like a well-made Western feature, or streaming series. How many episodes is it? Did they specify that on IMDb yet? Maybe it's not disclosed. 6 episodes. I wonder if it'll run for multiple seasons, or if it's a limited series. I mean, Yellowstone's on its 5th season at this point. It's going on 5. So they could probably, get it rolling, I'm sure, for, if that's the intention, for more seasons, if they so wish. Looks good. I'm definitely eager to see more, whenever trailer arrives. It's definitely a longer take. I'm sure one, they'll go more into the characters and the story as it's envisioned for the show beyond just the pitch. But the depiction of the world of the English looks very satisfying for a intense Western avenging themed story. One of a family foundation. I'm sure that will endear a lot of audiences. And I think the English looks like it'll probably be a win for Amazon. We'll see in time. But for now, it's good. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.